puff passing. It's kinda jarring. I cannot remember why I'm laughing.
Britain.
In the 2000s.
Ooh, I'm interested in this. Okay. I'm interested in this. Harmaji, baby go, why'd you have to say?
Worried parents had a new concern over what little Billy and Becky were doing in their free time. You know, when they weren't committing war crimes on Grand Theft Auto.
Should send shivers down your spine if you hear these three words: Grand Theft
Auto.
Or being abducted by
2
strangers
points.
on Habbo Hotel. They were now going down to corner shops, buying a copy of the Beano mag.
Bro, that reminds me. There was a craze in my area when I was in secondary school. People were just going to the corner shop. There was a specific corner shop in town. People would just go there, right opposite McDonald's. We'll just go there. Yo, can I get one Luger high spliff for £1? I wanna, bro. No one knew what was inside of it. But people still smoked it though. Well, I don't even remember when I tried it and I got in trouble for it. Jesus. Damn.
Some Haribos and a pack of Brain Destroyer 4000.
K2, a UK legal, it says.
There's like rat poison in it.
Sale to under 18-year-olds.
And the kicker was that all of this was happening completely
under our nose.
But what does the government
Everyone knew
about a new drug that is unquestionably legal, but which sets out to mimic the effects of marijuana?
Alright, so obviously I just want to give a disclaimer. Don't do drugs. This is clearly an educational documentary. This isn't advice on doing drugs. Don't do them. It's bad for you. Just go for a run.
Go for a run. That is so true, you know.
Never been a rave like this. The heavy bass will make 20,000 ravers all over Europe dance till they drop.
Alright, so I want you to
I wonder what music was playing.
All of the youth of the day are heading to these exciting and scary things called raves.
I always think, what would I be wearing if I was 20 in the 90s? I would always think, because I'm looking at the swag now and I can't lie, I'm liking it. But I would wonder how I would look like. What would I be wearing?
Rave music is
I'll be looking like the flyest nigga in the town, bro.
Musical fashions for many years.
Where they would dance and chat to some stranger for 10 hours about how good of a person he is because he held the door open for you. Like, mate, I'm not just saying this because I'm fucked, right? But you're really fucked. I can tell you.
Yeah, no, them niggas, no. Them niggas in the club, no. Them niggas in the club, they are parasites. I don't care, bro. Those niggas that be on something, not on the alcohol and I don't know, the white stuff, the white sugar. Those niggas, oh my god, they can talk for England, and they talk with the highest volume, right in your ear, spitting with their big eyes. Oh my gosh, bro! I know it. When I see one of those, I say, "Yo, okay, cool, say less," and I try to avoid them, bro.
The main thing fueling this was a drug called ecstasy, but there was a problem, right? And that is that ecstasy.
No, let me not. I can't pause too much.
Naughty ecstasy. But there was something else happening in the late 90s that was taking over the youth culture, and that was the internet.
Allison, can you explain what internet is?
Just one minute.
I remember when I tried ecstasy.
But if there is a silver lining, it's that it's the perfect time to cozy up indoors in the warmth and play a game. The big blade potential actors to get in to hit my insane. It was conscription and I'll see you in the battlefield. Anyway, back to the video. Early internet was absolutely insane. It was completely unregulated. It was the wild
same mother's life.
Instead of cool gunslinging dudes on horseback, it was sort of nerdy guys with acne saying how they liked Hitler. But you see, in this time, the lawmakers were really not very aware of what the internet was. You know, they just thought it was a complicated fax machine.
Shocked because few understand what is going on today with regard to the pollution of the internet.
But it would be in this time where websites would start to pop up selling a thing called research chemicals. You could literally browse through a long catalogue of different chemicals that you could buy and take home and conduct research with.
What kind of chemistry experiment would you recommend I did with these?
By heating it, by adding water to it. There's so many different, that's just 2 chemical sort of procedures you can do on their own.
They were drugs. Obviously, they're drugs. They're drugs that got you high. That's what they were. The way that prohibition worked was by banning a particular molecule. You know, like MDMA, the molecule is banned. However, if you marginally tweak the molecule, it's no longer MDMA, it's something slightly different, but it feels, looks, and acts the same or similar to MDMA.
Jesus Christ. One thing I'm extremely petrified of, right, is going to the club, getting spiked, and looking like my man over there. And we're in a society where we have walking CCTVs in our hand. Bro, imagine people see me chewing my jaw, looking like my man there. I'm finished. I'm just bait, worms, and all the meme pages. Nah, bro, nah. One thing I can't know. I can't be going out like that, bro. I can't be going out like that.
And or similar to MDMA.
God forbid. He must be, bro. Oh my gosh, I don't even know what to say.
Research chemicals was this, to be quite honest, genius term that
Hibina.
came up with
Hibina.
to sell these drugs.
What a name for a drug.
Loophole. If you look very, very closely, you will see the phrase
"not for human consumption."
Spice.
Not for human consumption.
Not for human consumption, translated into English, means this is a good drug, you should take it.
In order to bring something that's made for human consumption to market, it needs to go through regulatory bodies that prove whether it's safe for a human to take. These chemicals weren't being sold as consumables. They're being sold as research chemicals so that you could buy them, bring them home, and do fun science experiments with the kids.
But the way they package it up is like, what the fuck? Look! Bro, a 5-year-old would think this is sweets. Look at this, euphoria. Euphoria. I'm drowning in euphoria. Drowning in euphoria. Euphoria. Sleep. But that's crazy though. Look at the way they're packaging it up, bro. This looks like an iPod, an Apple iPod advert. Look at it.
Chemicals weren't being sold as
consumables.
They're being sold as research chemicals so that you could buy them, bring them home, and do fun science experiments with the kids. And if one of those science experiments happens to be chopping it up, snorting it, and playing Counter-Strike 1.6 bunny hop maps until 6 AM, then so be it. No one could stop you. The early 2000s was really the beginning of the legal high craze. This technology, this legal loophole, always existed. You could always do this. But the thing is that the internet delivered a scalability and like an efficiency to it.
They're known as legal highs, synthetic drugs that are said to enhance a party experience or simply boost energy.
With the police and the lawmakers not understanding the internet, the research chemical dealers had a few years to try and get the word out. And so they would take to drug user forums to spread the good news. And on top of this, they would start actually running adverts on dodgy websites alongside Viagra pills and pills.
I hear it. Businessman, innit? These niggas were businessmen. Wait, let me change my headphones because my thing is dying out. You know what I mean, mate? Fake friends and old hoes. I don't know what's right. Like a damn man walking. Baby girl, like I don't know you. Funny friend and 100 hand doesn't hold you. I'm growing and I don't know you. And I grow up and I don't know you. Euphoria. I'm drowning in euphoria. Drowning in euphoria.
Dr. Z, or Z, whatever, he was deliberately making drugs, like hundreds of drugs, to get around prohibition laws.
When I'm testing my new materials, my wife says, I don't want the kids to see you like that. I was once sitting with my pants down in the toilet in a euphoric state for about 4 hours on 5-MeO-DMT. and my wife was worried that I was dead.
Famously, he would test all of these drugs that he has just created on himself and kind of hope for the best. And one night, deep in a packet of one of these weird white powders he'd created, he had discovered
ecstasy. Oh.
Remember that dirty, horrible shit, innit?
Mephedrone, or known as Meow Meow by literally no one other than journalists, but most people know it as MCAT. MCAT was really one of the first legal highs to scare polite society.
Mephedrone suddenly became the fourth most popular drug amongst British clubbers.
It was changing the landscape of Britain.
The name for it though is plant food, which is exactly what the potent stimulant was sold as when it first arrived in the UK in the late 2000s.
I don't know what fucking plant you'd give mephedrone to. If you gave it to your bonsai tree, you'd wake up with an oak tree in your house the next day. By the 2000s, hordes of uni students, particularly in the UK, were becoming obsessed with MCAT.
I realised I had a problem with MCAT when I started getting ill all the time and I was massively underweight. I was doing like 7 to 9 grams a day.
And at the very same time in America, they were going for a similar thing with bath salts. But it wouldn't really be Dr. Z that was behind this. Sure, he'd invented and discovered the molecule, but largely the tons and tons of MCAT being made was being produced by scientists over in labs in places like China. There's a good Vice article all about how insane the MCAT craze was over in the UK. It became this drug that was synonymous with like 3-day benders where you wouldn't leave your house and you'd survive off a can of Heinz beans. And the media saw this and went into a complete meltdown.
He's unscrotum.
The media started reporting loads of tenuous cases of MCAT being related to people's deaths. By 2010, there'd been reports of 52 people dying from MCAT, but it was actually only detected in 38 of the cases. And of the 9 that coroners of the time had finished investigating, only 2 were actually directly caused by mephedrone. And so by 2010, MCAT was banned in England. However, the cat, or should I say the MCAT, was out the bag.
Also, the media didn't understand what they understand today, that when you warn about a drug, you make it very, very popular. The media is a little bit more responsible today. And they don't give me free advertising like they did back in those days. So the media created the popularity of mephedrone.
And so by 2008 and 2009, legal highs weren't now only being sold online, but actually in these shops that people would call
Gypsy Kings. Oh my gosh.
2 bags of lemon ace, 1 of pineapple kush, and a bag of rush, please, mate.
But now they weren't in like
Jesus.
chemical names being sold online, but instead being branded in these bright
I
colors.
don't even have a joke, bro. This is worrying.
Brand names like Go-Cane, China White, Scooby Snacks.
Scooby Snacks.
Even more scary legal high known as
Spice. Available.
Oh, the spice, the good old spice. Eh? Even the name of it sounds disgusting, bro. What do you mean spice?
One of the new breed of legal highs, increasingly sophisticated and popular, and highly profitable for the manufacturers.
So as I mentioned,
smoking spice, like that sounds so nitty. Like, what are you having tonight, bro? Yeah, I'm just gonna have spice, you know. What the fuck do you mean spice? Bro, you sound like a crackhead on the corner, bro, about spice.
Discovered synthetic cannabis quite some time ago. But in the late 2000s, as this legal high market was growing and they were looking for more drugs to sell, the Chinese scientists stumbled across John W. Huffman's work, and they were pretty happy about it.
I asked him to bring some up for me, and I tried it, I liked it, and
I've been doing it
ever since.
Yeah, of course you have, love.
Barbara, come on, what are you doing? You should be knitting jumpers for your grandkids, not puffing on Headfuck 4000. But on the 23rd of December 2009, in what would go
just
on
before
to be
Christmas,
a terrible decision, spice was completely banned in the UK.
The government predict that the new ban will wipe out Britain's head shop industry. But some argue that will only make things worse.
Why?
Before going down the rabbit hole of why this was such a terrible idea, it's important to ask ourselves the actual question.
Oh my gosh, I've been seeing them on TikTok, bro. Oh my days, bro. These nitties are looking like scarecrows. Human scarecrows, bro. One of them is frozen. Literally on the middle of the street, mid-walk. Jesus, I don't even have no words, bro.
Was spice banned? You know, were kids dropping dead in the streets? It seems from my research the answer is no. They banned it because, I mean, just because. They were scared of it.
Aren't these drugs just going to go underground?
Look, this is an argument that's put forward. I don't think it's an argument not to do nothing. You simply don't argue that the availability on the high street should be maintained because it will stop criminals. No.
There's a Times article I found where it showed that free drugs were being banned in this kind of era, where it says that 2 deaths were linked to its usage. But it doesn't actually make the connection between spice and deaths. It just says legal highs. Presumably, those 2 deaths were most likely from MCAT. And it seems that the very first original spice, it seems to be reported that the feeling and the effects of it were very similar to cannabis, and that the bad negative side effects were relatively low. However, the banning of JWH-018 would start a butterfly effect that would go on to absolutely devastating.
Oh my gosh.
This is a foolish bill. By banning it, you make it more attractive. You drive it underground, you increase the prices, and you have more irresponsible people.
So what do you do then?
Spice just mutated. It just changed. You know, the next synthetic cannabinoid came in, and then the next, and then the next. The police would try and ban it, but each time they'd ban it, they would choose a different one and sell that as spice. And then slowly this trend started to emerge where the spice that was starting to be sold after all the bans was getting further and further away from the very original spice.
So what, yeah? Spice. It's horrible.
I woke up after the spice with vomit all over my bed and myself cut up.
Oh my gosh.
So in the UK in 2016, the legal high trade was getting so big and becoming such a big deal for the government that they introduced the Psychoactive Substance Act of 2016. It was a blanket ban on all psychedelic substances other than coffee and, you know, the real harmless ones like cigarettes and alcohol. Shockingly, it only got worse.
Eric Carlin says the decision to make it a Class B drug has been unduly based on media and political pressure.
In 1996 and 1997, mandatory testing for drugs came into prisons. And so, considering the fact that many prisoners, you know, like to indulge in smoking cannabis, they started to switch over to smoking spice as it didn't show up in these drug tests.
I went to prison, had no cannabis, tried to this, I smoked it, I liked it, got out and here it is.
Done it ever since.
In the town where I've moved to, so I'm smoking. Because if I could get off it, I would straight away. I wouldn't ever smoke it again.
And this is really where most of the trouble began.
Very naughty drug. I've seen people jump off landings, break their legs for a zoo. I've seen people do. I've seen two guys fighting, trying to bite each other for a fucking zoo.
To be honest, it gets very dark. There's documentaries that go into just how awful the prison spice epidemic is. I'll link a documentary you can watch down in the description. But you see, the newer versions of spice that have been created over the time to try and get away from these bans, they had become so much more worse than the original version, to the point that the high, if you could even really call it a high, literally just floors you for 6 hours. This spice was incredibly addictive. It had insane side effects. Like, people were going through psychotic episodes, they were dying. In Manchester, 95% of homeless people are now on spice. Many of them quitting drugs like heroin and crack in order to do spice. And if you look at some of the effects that it has on people, it induces this thing like a zombie effect, where they're just standing completely knocked out. People are dying from it, they're heavily addicted to it. Honestly, the situation is fucked. Weirdly, and I guess luckily, after COVID, it did seem that spice usage has dropped a lot because it was very hard to bring it into the country from China. But really, to me, the big takeaway from this whole story is our approach to drug legislation. The generation of people who grew up through the war on drugs that started in 1971 are so deeply entrenched into this way of solving the drug problems, where they assume the only way to deal with drugs is banning it and policing it, and that's all you can do. There's no other way of dealing with it.
Now, a government drugs advisor resigned from his job because he's uneasy about the speed with which methadone was criminalised.
Honestly, until society can work out why there are people so sad they will end up living like this, getting addicted to incredibly dangerous chemicals, then the problem of drug abuse is never going to go away. The world has pissed away $1 trillion on banning and criminalising drugs, and usage has only ever gone up. I'm just saying, put that money into helping these people and not putting them in prison. That's just my 2 cents. If you enjoyed this video and the topics I touched on, join the Discord. We can chat further about it and you can help me with future videos. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Jesus. It's just scary, bro.
PDD is saucy enough.